Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar about improving commercial real estate lease management with software, particularly modern software in mind, which we have most experience with. And if you have any questions during the webinar, please reserve them to the end. And if you're watching this webinar as a recording, just drop us a note and we'll be happy to discuss the questions with you. Now, before we get to the discussion of how to improve the lease management, I would like to briefly touch on the trend underlying this need for efficiency and improvement in the commercial real estate. And this is a trend by the tenants in commercial real estate to also expect more flexibility from the landlords. On the one extreme of this trend are the co-working spaces and also the trend of pop-up stores in retail centers, which expect extreme flexibility in terms and services. But this has more generally also affected the traditional commercial real estate tenants that have been used to 5, 10, sometimes even 15 and more years of lease terms, to expect more flexibility and shorter lease terms in the light of pending uncertainty, especially in the more recent past. And also to ask for more flexibility in terms of the early termination, which ultimately affects the lease term and the WALT calculations of the landlords. And we did a little bit of digging in our data of roughly 8,000 leases. We left out the co-working spaces, which are on the extreme, and took a look at the traditional leases and saw that whereas in earlier years, the traditional first lease term was on average 2.5 years. And the share of longer leases of 5 years and more was roughly around 15 to 20%. Then in the past year, from the second quarter of 2020, there has been a clear drop, and the average lease terms in the beginning are now around 1.5 years. And of course, the 5-year plus contracts have also dropped in the share to between 5 to 10%. So this clearly indicates the expectation and is not just to do with the crisis, but more in the general terms of tenants trying to be prepared for the uncertainty in the business environment. Now, in order to be able to handle that in a competitive fashion compared to other landlords as well, we're seeing that clearly Excel is not enough any longer as a tool to manage this process. And there's a increasing need for proper software tools that help you, equip you with relevant reminders and transparency and overview in the tools to use. So this is the force that is basically creating the urgency for commercial real estate landlords to be able to respond to the tenant expectations. Now, moving forward to the discussion, I would like to first just mention briefly what is Moderan and why we're discussing this topic, so you understand where we come from with our know-how. Now, first, what is Moderan software? Well, it's a platform for managing commercial real estate and mixed portfolios. And it consists of 3 main components. So first of all, an overview of your portfolio of properties and spaces management, vacant spaces, space sizes, and all this part. Then secondly, leases. We offer the most extensive and flexible lease rental tool. And third, automating the calculation of utilities, which is one of the most challenging components of commercial real estate. And we've been working with commercial real estate owners and managers for years with properties of more than 2 billion in worth of assets under management, and more than 8,000 leases in aggregate, and growing constantly. And here's a brief example of some of our customers that are currently using Moderan as well. And just to describe further what type of portfolios, so here's an example of Rotterdam City, which is a very good example of a more recent trend in the past couple of decades of refurbishing the old factory areas into modern, hip city quarters that offer a mix of office, retail, restaurants, and all types of spaces you can think of, with several hundred tenants in the same location with a mix of terms. And then another example of Asgard property, which is interesting for the fact that they're using both office and co-working setup, and interchangingly, meaning that sometimes they rent the same spaces as co-working, sometimes as office. So these are just a couple of examples, and we have also a lot of customers with retail portfolios, logistics portfolios, and different types of mixed commercial real estate portfolios. But now getting back to our main question on the agenda is how software can improve commercial real estate lease management. And today I would like to discuss the four items that we're seeing are like the first step, the basics, where software really helps you compare to Excel and other sort of easier platforms. So the first one, and what we're seeing is traditionally the biggest challenge when you're using Excel and other sort of hub solutions or files, is that your information ends up being scattered. Files are in one place, and then there's a lot of Excel tables, some of the terms, some of the utilities information, and some of the reports. And they're all separate files, which means that the information is scattered in different places. Different people have different versions of this information, and might have, so correspondingly, they might be working from different bases. So what a software solution offers you, and what we've been working with Moderan, is that you get this one place where all the information is included, and people access it from wherever they are at the moment online, and they have the same information. If they need to then do an Excel export or look at this information or do some sort of reporting, they all start out from the same basis. Secondly, also, a lot of the reports that are used on a daily or monthly basis are actually ready already. So nobody needs to manually aggregate this information, and they're based on the same data for everybody. So here is an example of some of these this information, which is a first view from Moderan. It gives you an overview instantly of all your properties in the portfolio and the key metrics that you always want to be on top of. So for example, here we have an overview of your different properties. You automatically see what is the current vacancy rate, what is the total leasable space, what is the average monthly income, and what is the income per square meter, how many tenants you have, how many active contracts you have, and for the whole portfolio. And if anything changes in the contracts, they expire, a new contract is added, then these numbers all get automatically updated. And you always have this information up to date, and you can take any reports for any dates. So just getting this transparency and everybody on the same page is the very first benefit that property management software like Moderan gives you. So now the next step that is also a particular challenge in commercial real estate, as we're seeing, is managing the space or the units that you're renting out. So managing two aspects of it, mainly space sizes. As we all know, in commercial real estate, units are not fixed as they typically are in residential real estate. but change in time, meaning that every time a new tenant comes in, especially in retail centers, the space might be rebuilt, the size changes, and so on. So a platform like Moderan helps you track the changes and keep the records of the historic changes and the current sizes, so that you have all the reports and overviews always with the right numbers. And secondly, because of these changes, to also have an overview of your vacancies. Because one of the key factors for managing your occupancy is to know at any time what are my vacant spaces and when are they going to be emptying up because the leases are expiring. So the software, especially Moderan software, gives you an overview of all your spaces, their history in terms of the space sizes and setups, and an instant overview of your vacancies in the portfolio, which is key. So here we're seeing an overview of a list of your spaces in the portfolio. And here you can see immediately the yellow ones are vacant. So you know what you need to fill in today, but also for the spaces that are occupied, you automatically see who is the tenant in the space and also when is the rental period expiring. So you know when to start preparing to fill in the space, which is critical to managing your occupancy. So that was number two in the traditional benefits that a software solution like Moderan gives you. Now, the third step is actually something that Moderan historically started out with, and that is a particular shortcoming of Excel files, is managing the deadlines in leases. In commercial real estate, the lease deadlines might not come about that often, but if they do and you happen to miss them, they might cost you a lot, as we all know. So getting timely reminders about your indexations that are coming up, about the potentially expiring tenant insurances or guarantee letters or any other key terms in your contracts is a key in helping you be in control of your annual revenues and respectively their property value. So this is why Moderan the very first report is about deadlines, and to present you at any time what are the upcoming deadlines and what are already overdue. And of course, we also send you email reminders, but emails sometimes get crammed with a lot of information. So it's critical that you also have like a task list of type of overview, and you know what's coming up and what's already overdue. Because a classic example of when, for example, you have an insurance requirement from a tenant and it has expired and the tenant has not handed you an update on whether they have insurance, it can be a big risk in your portfolio ultimately. Now, so this was keeping track of your deadlines and thus being in control of your revenues is the third basic advantage that a software like Moderan gives you over Excel. And the fourth one is something that we've been working a lot with for the past few years, is helping commercial real estate landlords better manage their utilities calculation, since this can be fairly messy, of course, time consuming, and accordingly, if it's not done properly and transparently, can pose you potential risks, because in most jurisdictions and contracts, there is the tenant has the right to actually expect the landlord to be able to present the correct calculation for the past 3 years. And if they identified any incorrect calculations, they have a right to actually demand that they be compensated for that after the fact. So this is why it's particularly important to have the utility calculations transparent and efficient. So because of that, in Moderan, we have built a special solution for utilities calculation that keeps in mind the needs of commercial real estate. This means the flexible changes in the space sizes, and the particularly important exceptions management, because in commercial real estate, a lot of tenants have exceptions. And we have built a solution to be able to flexibly manage that, at the same time keeping the basic setup for all the properties the standard way, so that everybody can understand them in the same way. Consequently, we help you automate and to automate the utility calculation at the same time while bringing clarity and speed into the process. And here is an example of the outcome, where you basically can see the overview of the already calculated period, where you see exactly which tenants stayed how long in this property for this calculation period, which is at the moment a month, how many days, how much space they had, and what is the corresponding cost for each type of cost. And here we see an aggregate for individual as well as common area maintenance costs, but you can see more details in here as well. So this is the utilities calculation automation has been one of particular challenges and benefits, where we see that a software can greatly help commercial landlords, especially in the Central Eastern European regions, where the utilities are calculated on a monthly basis, not annual basis, like in a lot of Western European countries. And because of that, there's of course more pressure to be more efficient in this process. And that basically is something that software can greatly help you. And we're happy to have been helping that, in particular, our customers. So these were basically the 4 points where we see like the baseline benefits for commercial landlords in using a proper software for managing their lease agreements, and thereby basically we're helping them maximize their revenue and asset value ultimately. So it was, first of all, transparency. When you have all the information in one place, the reports are aggregated automatically. It helps both you and primarily your team save time on managing the leases. Secondly, having a clear overview of your spaces, the changes in space sizes, and of course, any vacancies helps you maximize your occupancy and thus drive your revenue. Third, reminders, the very first basic, getting your reminders in control helps you better control your revenue and thus to grow your property value. And fourth, utilities calculation and automating them as far as you can, considering that this is a particular challenge in commercial real estate. So in addition to the four benefits that any software gives you, Moderan advantage specifically is that we built it so that it's as easy to use and flexible as Excel, but a step up, because everybody's using the same data and they're basing their reports on the same numbers. So it's a transparent and unified platform. Secondly, our user-based pricing means that you can start using Moderan with any portfolio size. We also have customers that have started out with 1 or 2 properties, because we know that once you get into commercial real estate management, you usually aim to grow your portfolio, and we love small teams with big ambitions. So this is why it's always good to set up your systems with the right track from the very outset, and then you can grow. Then you can expand your use as your portfolio grows. And third, what is critical in these days is that we also integrate with the different software solutions you might be using for other functions, because nowadays There are different softwares for accounting, for facility management, and other functions, and you want them to be able to talk to each other. So that is a particular goal of most modern softwares like Moderan. And so this is what we're aiming at. We aim to offer the commercial real estate owners and managers the best of both worlds. Moderan is a professional commercial real estate focused solution, but at the same time, we aim to keep it as easy to use as Excel. So help you gain maximum efficiency and control. So this was a brief discussion of the benefits of using software to manage your commercial lease processes. And if you have any questions or would like to take a closer look at Moderan, please do drop us a note, and we'll be happy to make you a demonstration of our solution. And with any questions, I'll be looking forward to them. Thank you. Have a great day.